Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to another broadcast from Fly Fish Fork. I'm Alex Guthrie, and I'm doing my weekly fishing report. I wasn't here last week. I uh, had some personal stuff kind of get in the way, and one thing led to another, and the week was gone, and um, I wasn't able to do a broadcast. But the fly fishing report hadn't changed a whole lot because the weather has been consistent. The fish are still biting, and we're going to talk about that today. So, welcome to the show. My name is Alex Guthrie. I'm a fly fishing guide at Lake Fork in Texas. Also, Lake Bob Sandlin, Lake Hawkins, Lake Holbrook, Lake Quitman. you know, kind of go all over and work them all when people want to go. So, right now, let's talk about Lake Fork and kind of the area in general. We have had a really interesting and wonderful weather pattern. Here we are in the second week of June, and we are experiencing a lot of good fishing weather. And I'm sorry, I'm looking off, but I forgot to plug in my battery charger. Hang on. This is what happens when you do live broadcasting. I did a lot of radio and some TV in Dallas for about 20 years or so. And so I'm used to kind of the pitfalls of live broadcasting, and it is always challenging. There always seems to be something that gets in the way. I'm sorry about that little delay there, but I had to get my battery charger plugged in, or my computer thing. So um, let's talk a little bit about how things are going at Lake Fork. Right now, the lake has been full. It's actually been over full for quite some time, several weeks. We've had a whole lot of rain. It's been fairly consistent. We've had a couple of maybe 7 to 10 day dry patches of no rain, but at the end of the day, it comes back. It gets enough that it brings the lake back up. The lake, and they've been kind of keeping it up even when they close the gates. The lake's still staying up several inches, and I think that's because we lose a little bit every day from just evaporation. And of course, when it gets hot and sunny, and you never know when that's going to start full time, then all of a sudden you're really looking to keep that lake full. So the lake's been full, so we've had a lot of vegetation starting to grow. We've got a lot of lily pads. We have a lot of duckweed. We have a lot of alligator grass, tons of alligator grass, all kinds of stuff growing around the edges. The hydrilla is trying to come up, but every time it starts to get up and get near the top of the water, the lake gets high and sometimes in a lot of places muddy, and that kind of stunts the ability of that stuff to grow. It needs some sunlight and it needs some consistent water depth. So we'll see how that works out for the year. So some years it actually will kill it where it just won't grow because it's the water's been up and cloudy for too long. Some years it doesn't matter; it fills in anyway. So we'll see how that goes. And there's a lot more vegetation in Lake Fork than I've seen in years right now. So we're feeling real good about it. Now we're on about I think our third year where the lake's been up to pretty close to normal uh, water levels. Doesn't mean it's been full, but it means or we fluctuate about a couple to as many as 3 feet a year just from evaporation. And of course, when they're using it for water supply, this lake supply Dallas and a lot of small towns around here, of course, the people around the lake. So it can go down real quick if we have a long dry spell. So we'll see how that goes this year. We always expect to have, well, as we say in Texas, you're one rainstorm away from a 3-year drought. So you just never know. You just never know what's going to happen. I'm catching fish on this little. I'm going to have a video out. I've been working on editing some videos to show you guys some fishing videos where I'm catching fish with this. And this is a little. It's not really a Dahlberg. It's more of a I don't know what you call it. It's sort of a Dahlberg pattern, but it's he swims under the water, and with in the way that I have him sort of tapered back here, when you strip this thing, it leaves a giant bubble. It looks like a submarine going under the water, and it goes down, it dives down in the water, and it leaves a bunch of bubbles. And this little tail right here, which is just deer hair, and this not deer hair, the zonker, um, it which is rabbit fur for those of you that don't tie flies, has great motion. So when you look at this thing from the fish's perspective, which would be like this, I'm not sure if they think that's a mouse or a frog or something in between. I'm not sure what they think it is, but they very aggressively or have been hitting this thing. So it's worked good around lily pads. It's worked good around the weed lines. As usual, my best hours to fish this time of year is later in the day. Now, that's in particular, of course, that's if we don't have clouds, which would be normal. We've had enough cloud cover that I'm still getting some action during the day. I may be working a little harder for it. But when that happens, then I'm going to go to the outside of the weed line. Now, this is a game changer. I'm sure many of you have fished them and seen them. It's just a little articulated fish pattern. Pretty cool. Catches a lot of fish. That pattern catches a lot of fish, not necessarily this color always, but he will catch fish. Um, but that game changer, that type of a pattern or like a hollow tie streamer or just any streamer, even a deceiver, that type of bait that simulates a bait fish. If you'll swim in front of that weed line, out away, a lot of the bigger fish are always want to be close to bigger structure or deeper water, even if it's a creek channel and you want to fish out where there's sort of a drop off. Maybe you hit the weed line, make a long cast, hit the weed line, and then pull it back towards you. If you're, of course, I'm fishing out of a boat, and my strike will come somewhere between me and that weed line. I broke a pretty good one off yesterday. He was a smart fish. He hit it, I hooked him, and he went right down and wrapped a log. And I ended up having to break him off because there wasn't anything I could do. It was stuck in there. I couldn't do anything about him. So that's also on my video. I call that the educating fish. He educated me. Um, and so that type of bait, and then you can also use these. I love these hard body poppers. I tied this thing. I probably tied this thing 5, 6, maybe 10 years ago. I don't know, but this is a hard body popper. You can get these uh, blanks, so you can get the popper bodies and tie your own. They're very easy. You don't even have to paint them. They come white. They're easy to tie, and I just use Krylon paint to paint them. So it's easy to do if you want to try doing it yourself. You don't have to have a lot of fancy stuff. That type of a bait is also going to work for really this time of year, particularly later in the day when you're fishing those kind of evening fish. Now, there is an early morning bite, and we have a longer light to sun up, because when the sun comes up, that changes sort of everything with the fish. But we have a longer daylight to sun up um, time frame, so you'll have a little longer early bite. Again, using the same baits, using a lot of top water and a lot of streamers when those fish are feeding early in the morning. Now, what I'm doing after the sun comes up, I'm going to go find. I call it shadow fishing. We're going to go and find areas where there's shadows on the water, because that'll hold those fish a little bit longer. And so that's a good thing to do. Then in the middle of the day, we might want to go back to those lily pads. And a lot of times, particularly when it's really hot, those the bass in particular will get up under those lily pads, and you may hear it raining above me. I'm outside on my deck, and I've got a metal roof, so it's been kind of rainy today. Um, the fish will get up under those lily pads in the middle of the day, and sometimes that's the best time to fish them. It is a really exciting thing when you throw like this guy right here. I tied specifically with lily pads in mind. He's got kind of a funky little hair sticking up, and he works fantastic on the pads. And if you get this weed guard just right, so the weed guard, the way I tie them right here, seems to work for me real well. It hits, and if I pull it light enough, it'll go right past it, but it's not hard enough to prevent to become a lip guard, which um, can kind of turns into a lip guard, and that's when I pull out my scissors and I cut the damn thing off. So anyway, um, yes, fly fishing and holistic living. Love that sound. Yeah. Hey, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. The best sound in the world for me is when that little fly, that little bug hits the top of the lily pad, and bass blast up through it. And what they do is when it's on top of that lily pad, a lot of times they're trying to just knock it off like they would a frog or a mouse or whatever is up on there. So they'll try and knock that thing off, and that's what gives it that great sound, that great action that you're looking for. Again, when I get this video out that I shot yesterday, I have a couple of them that came up through the pads that got it's a pretty good video. You'll like that. So that's what I would do during the day, and then I would take a smaller, like a little clouser type bait, a sinking bait that is maybe a fish imitation, and I'll throw it around the boat houses. You can get a lot of action. Now, there's a certain way to find those boat houses. There's certain boat houses that I'm going to fish. Um, One of them is the main thing that I do is I go where there's a concentration of boat houses, and I love it if I see two or three of them near each other, and they've got brush piles out. You can see if there's ropes hanging off of them holding trees up, if they've got fish feeders out, if they've got a lot of lights out, and then they're active fishermen. Those places hold lots of fish. So now they may be catfish, and that's fun. I catch a lot of catfish doing that, and it is a gas. I don't care when it's 85 degrees, 90 degrees outside. I don't care what it is I catch. I'm glad I'm glad I'm able to catch something. The other thing is the brim are on their beds right now, and I keep a brim rod rigged up and ready to go. I did it yesterday, just to catch a few brim. And now we've got some real big brim in Lake Fork. Also, Lake Hawkins has really big brim, and I've got a couple of videos on my channel of catching those brim on Lake Hawkins. Also, we have how long does the brim action last there? Our brim action will last from it'll start about now. It's actually been actually been bed fishing for brim for probably about 2 or 3 weeks already, and it'll go until it gets super super hot, like the first part of August, maybe mid August, and then they get a little harder. They're going to get a little deeper. Right now, the crappie fishermen are complaining because they're fishing down on brush piles, and when they pull their crappie up, big bass are chasing their crappie up and stealing them off their jigs. So uh, I've got to figure out how to get a fly down there and do the same thing. I feel like I'm missing an opportunity there. And so the daytime fishing will be kind of wherever I can find shade, wherever I can find a boathouse. A lot of these boathouses have been dredged out around them. When the lake was low a few years ago, people went in and did a lot of improvements on their seawalls, on their boathouses around them. They put a lot of brush out, a lot of fish attractors. There's a lot of good fishing around boathouses. You're going to lose a few flies because there's also a lot of deadly fly traps under there. But I've also lost a couple of them on super big fish. So let's be real about that. I'd love to go out this time of the year, and my bite has been starting honestly in mid morning. I sometimes don't start getting a good bite until 10 or even 11 o'clock in the morning for bass. The brim, it's an all day thing, and the catfish are pretty much all day. But those bass, which I'm primarily after most of the time, can be a midday or mid morning bite, and it'll last maybe an hour, hour and a half. And then I'm going to go out in the evening, and I'm going to put in probably 3 hours before sunset. And usually, when that sun hits the top of the trees, I'm going to get maybe a 45-minute, maybe an hour of real good topwater action and real active fish. And then a lot of times, those fish will kind of back off until sunset, which is interesting. Like they'll bite for 35, 45 minutes and then they'll just kind of stop. I don't know why, but that doesn't mean you're not going to catch them at dark with a topwater in shallow water. And I catch some very big fish doing that. So it's really a full day of fishing but you just have to sort of work your way through it during the day. And a lot of it depends on the weather, obviously, and a lot of it depends on the temperature and what you can take. On Lake Bob Sandlin, it's real similar to Lake Fork in a lot of ways. The water clarity is fairly similar. The water temperature stays about the same. The difference in with Bob Sandlin Lake is that there's a lot more uh, seawalls up around the lake. It's a lot more developed than Lake Fork is, and so you have at the bottom of those walls that they've got, there's a footing that sticks out 6, 8, 12